Francis, welcome back to the sport of mixed martial arts. We have missed you, and now we're weeks away from seeing your return. For you, what has it been like to step back into the training room to get the small gloves on again and to refresh your love for mixed martial arts?
Hello guys. Gonna be honest, it's nice to be here, and I'm very excited about this. I'm also a little nervous. You know, I was just kind of stiff. I'm like, okay, it's been a long time that I haven't been here, but I remember like when I get back to the gym, like 2 months ago, I was so nervous. Maybe I have forgotten how to fight, but as soon as I get to the ground, I realized it was always there. I feel like I never left. So it's quite excited, and I'm looking forward to this.
That actually makes me feel a little bit better that even Francis Ngannou gets a little bit nervous for things like this. Best dressed heavyweight as well as the hardest hitting heavyweight.
Woo. All right, Renen Ferreira, does it feel a little bit more real now? Francis is sitting on the other side of the stage to you?
Olá pessoal, é muito bom estar aqui com vocês hoje, esse grande evento aí, parabenizar o PFL por essa grande organização, uma honra muito grande fazer parte de tudo isso, ter como adversário aí o cara de
Hey guys, great honor to be here. Just ecstatic with this opportunity, with this fight, and a great honor to be facing a guy of the caliber of Francis Ngannou.
If you're fighting a guy that tall, but you've got the kind of power and speed that Renan's got, how do you solve a problem like Ngannou? I want you to ask that question because I'm too scared to.
You just got to get close. Just got to get close and punch him. Francis, you've been complimentary of Renan Ferreira when you've made comments about him. Now, here he is, sitting across from you. The nickname, I think, fits for Renan. What kind of a problem does this man present for Francis Ngannou?
You know, everyone is a problem at some extent, and then it's definitely a problem for some people, and as long as I'm concerned, he's not a problem against the predator. So I think the nickname for himself.
Not a problem, Francis says.
Apparently, but I mean, look at the size of this individual. I mean, height and reach advantage, the speed and everything. Renan, question for you though. Of course, we know that Francis has got a very well-rounded mixed martial arts game. We know he's got punching power, but we've seen him wrestle over 25 minutes. What version of Francis do you expect?
O Francis é cara que passando por um ano difícil aí, mais difícil ainda é o que ele tem pela frente. Ele sabe que ele tem grande problema e vai ser
Hey buddy, can you slow down? Thank you.
Well, Francis has been going through a tough year in his life, but the toughest challenge in his life and in his year is going to be me. I'm going to be the biggest problem in his year right now. It's a tough puzzle for him to figure out.
Press, the floor is yours.
Thank you, sir. We'll start with Francis, please. Francis, welcome back to MMA, first of all. 2.5 years away. Crazy what you've done in boxing. I know you're still very much the man in the boxing world. So why was now the right time for you to get back involved in mixed martial arts?
It was always the plan. You know, in May, I think it was in May, yes, May last year that we make this official that we are supposed to fight this year. And then we get a little delay because it's supposed to be in June. So that was the plan. And even like before my last fight against Joshua, this fight was already talking about, you know, like when they fought champ in Saudi Arabia, the deal was that I'm going to fight the winner, and it was already made before the fight and before I fight.
And Renan has done a lot of great things while you've been in boxing, right? Amazing run through the season, beats Ryan Bader in the champ versus champ fight. So how much of him were you watching, and what have you thought of the fights that you've seen and the knockouts that he's put together while you've been away?
Well, I'm gonna say this, like, I wasn't impressed by his knockout, not because he wasn't good, because I knew he was capable of doing that, I've been watching Renen Ferreira because before a lot of people even know who he was, because I was so impressed by his skills, by his ability, and I saw him enter the PFL season, and now I'm like, I put my money on this guy. This is the winner. Like, he's gonna smash everybody, you know. So I've been watching it, and every time, of course, he had a great performance, and I wasn't impressed before because I knew that was what he was going to do. I wasn't expecting any less out of him.
Nice. And last thing for you, Francis. When you set goals in life, it seems that you always obtain them. So now that you're back in MMA, what is your goal in this run with PFL now that you're focused on MMA once again?
Can you start all over again?
Sure. In life, when you set goals, it seems you always meet them. So now that you're back in MMA, back in the PFL, what is your goal now that you're back in MMA again?
You know, my goal right now is not just about like being back in MMA, it's about being back in activity, in combat sport in general. It's being back in what I love. And then I think I always have a purpose. I always look forward for my purpose, the reason why I'm doing. And lately, things been a little tough. You know, I haven't questioned if I have to continue or if I should just hang off the gloves and stuff. Then I realized that should be a purpose for me. You know, like I didn't have a chance to fight for my son, man. So I think this is it.
Thank you, Francis. Appreciate that. And for Renan, if we could, Renan, obviously you've been thinking about this fight for a long time. It is official now. You've had a chance to size up Francis. We're looking forward to this face-off here momentarily. But what are your initial impressions now that you see him face-to-face and what he offers you as an opponent?
O Francis é um grande atleta, sempre acompanhei ele nos knockouts e tudo. Pessoalmente, eu já sabia que ele era tudo isso, então eu tenho me preparado a vida toda para lutar com caras grandes, com caras como ele. Então, assim, não me impressionou, eu já sabia como que ele era.
Look, Francis is a great athlete, and I've been following his career for a very long time, and I've been impressed by his career and his feats for a very long time. So meeting him in person, it just came to solidify everything that I thought and I knew. He's a big man, he's got big power, and I'm excited for this fight.
And lastly, how do you evaluate him as a fighter at this point, right? It's been 2.5 years since we've seen him as a mixed martial artist. He's been boxing. So do you expect the same version? Do you expect something different? Do you have time away? What do you expect from an opponent?
Com certeza é bastante tempo, né? Fora dos gays, é totalmente diferente. O Francis tem feito lutas de boxe, que é outra pegada. Então eu acho que ele vai sentir um pouco de diferença, mas ele é um guerreiro, um lutador. Mas ele tem um grande problema pela frente. Ele sabe que vai ter uma dificuldade imensa, tanto na trocação quanto na parte de greve, porque ele sabe que eu posso nocautear ou finalizar ele a qualquer momento.
Yeah, 2.5 years is a long time. I think like I said, he's a great athlete, but the cage is the cage. It's going to bring other challenges, and as I said, and I'll say it before, I'll say it again. He has a big problem ahead of him. He knows I have knockout power. I can wrestle him. I can bring him down to the ground. I can knock him out. I can submit him. So again, he has a big problem ahead of him.
All right, how you doing, Francis? I have one question for you, one question for you, Renan. My name is Brian Mazikin from Forbes, and it's a pleasure to get an opportunity to talk to you. My question is, over the past week, there's been a lot of conversation on the back end of Israel Adesanya's fight, and he has shown you so much respect, and he has continued to make it a point to make your accomplishments and your experience not be forgotten. And so recently there was something that kind of bubbled up about that, and it came to a head, and we kind of found out what happened. My question is, how does it make you feel to get that level of support and have that loyalty shown to you by someone close to you like Israel Adesanya?
It's always great. I mean, since we didn't know each other before we get here, we get in our combat sport career, and then we had to know each other, and then since then, I like my first fight was on the same card with Usman, and then we broke up. Then Adesanya came after. And then we just have a good chemistry and support each other, So it's always been a good chemistry between us, a good support, genuinely, and everybody wishes everybody the best, wishes everybody to dominate in this division or to overcome whatever it's going through. So it's been, and whether it's on or off stage, we've been supporting each other, and it's also very comforting, like. There are moments that you're up and there are moments that you're down, and then you truly need support from people that care about you, So, and those are very important. Like my first boxing match in Riyadh, we were there the whole week with Adesanya and Usman, and let me tell you what, even though I wasn't knowing what I was getting into, at least I was happy that whatever happened, it happens when I'm surrounded by people that care for me.
Yeah, that the whole image of you and Usman and Adesanya with the three kings and the Wakanda forever, that definitely hits hard, and so I definitely appreciate your answer. This question is for Renan. I have to ask you, you are the reigning PFL heavyweight champion after going through an entire season, but as we look here, it's very clear whose name is first. Do you feel in any way that like you are maybe being undersold because you are actually the champion, and are you taking that as any level of motivation as you go into this fight?
Chateado nem um pouco, somos dois grandes campeões. Estou pronto para escrever mais uma vez aí, mais um capítulo da minha história. Venho trabalhando duro para isso, independente do meu nome estar aí sendo falado em primeiro ou segundo, isso não importa. O que vai importar é lá dentro, quando estiver dentro do octagon, que eu sei que eu vou estar muito preparado para dar esse show.
No, it doesn't really bother me. I know my accolades. I know what I bring to the table and what I've done for the sport, with the sport, and here at the PFL. Once we get locked inside the cage, it doesn't really matter whose name's first, second, or what's said before. Fight's a fight.
Question for Francis. There's been a lot of talk throughout the community lately about who the greatest heavyweight in the world is right now, and a lot of people bring up John Jones and Tom Aspinall and kind of forget that you have not lost in MMA lately since you last fought. Do you believe that you're the greatest heavyweight in the world still?
Can you please repeat your question?
There's been a lot of debate throughout the community lately on who the greatest heavyweight in the world is right now, between maybe Tom Aspinall and John Jones, and your name is getting left out. I'm just curious if you believe you're still the best heavyweight in the world.
I don't know, I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Wondering if you're still believing that you're the best heavyweight in the world in MMA. There's a lot of debate between who the best heavyweight is right now. We're bringing up John Jones and Tom Aspinall and yourself.
So you're asking like who is the best heavyweight?
Yes.
Well, I think for everybody he is the best heavyweight, and even those who you haven't mentioned they feel like the best heavyweight, and everybody has his fight. And honestly, like I never chase stuff like that because it's not the most important. I think the most important is to go there and do your best. Give everything that you have in one of each and every fight that is in front of you, and then whether it's in life, in sport, or whatever you're doing. So that's for me like the goal, is to do my best. As long as I give my best, I make sure that I give my best. I make sure that I left no stone unturned. I'm okay with whatever it is, and then the idea of chasing who is the best heavyweight, like all over social media is not something that I'm very excited about.
And for Renan, do you believe that this fight with Francis will decide the best heavyweight on the planet?
Com certeza essa é a luta mais esperada do ano, né? Dois grandes pesos pesados aí, com estilos bem parecidos, o cara que anda para frente, busca o nocaute. Então, com certeza esse vai ser um grande combate aí, e com certeza esse vai definir quem vai ser o melhor do mundo aí, peso pesado.
For sure, yeah. This fight seals the deal as far as who's the best heavyweight in the world. These are two guys at their prime, heavy hitters, very similar style, insane knockout power, and that only know one motion, that is forward. So.
Hi, it's Jack Vick from The Sun in the UK. Question for Renan firstly. After you won the PFL season, you said that you were going to sit and wait for Francis. Well, of course, he was boxing for a while, and it wasn't quite clear when he would come back to MMA. Was it a nervy period waiting for Francis, having decided to not enter the season again? Can you hear me? Okay. Was it a nervy period for Renan while he was waiting for Francis in boxing?
Não, em nenhum momento. Eu aproveitei esse tempo para estar me preparando, para estar aprendendo mais, para estar evoluindo. Foi um momento de descanso também para mim, para estar com a minha família. Então usei bem esse tempo. Eu sabia que eu sou o campeão, né? Eu estou à frente. Não tinha outro cara para ser o adversário do Francis. Então, em nenhum momento eu fiquei ansioso ou preocupado com isso. Aproveitei esse tempo para ficar mais tranquilo, curtir um pouco a minha família e aprimorar cada vez mais aí o meu jogo.
No, not at all. I was calm, cool, and collected throughout this whole process. I took this time to enjoy some family time, as well as, just relax, but also sharpen my tool set and become a better fighter. I knew coming into this whole process, there was no one else to fight Francis. I'm the champion out here. I'm the super fights champion as well. So naturally, I'm the man for it. I just sat back and used the time to do other things.
And one for Francis. Can you hear? You've been in the 10-ounce boxing gloves for the past year or so. Have you missed wearing those 4-ounce gloves? And do you still harbour some interest in boxing? Maybe a rematch with Tyson Fury, considering how close the first fight was?
Yes, of course. I do miss small gloves. I do miss the fact that you can change level, like strike, grapple, and do all the stuff. Feels different, This is what I used to. This is what I have, like my body mechanics is used to now, and then getting back into it is just a great thing. But for your second question, yes, I am still looking forward to have some boxing match. I haven't done yet. I think I even have a few out of me.
Question for Francis, I guess following up on that, are you back in MMA kind of for a couple of fights now, or do you think we'll do this one and then maybe see what happens between Fury and Usyk after that? Like, obviously you have options, but do you think that you're going to have a couple of MMA fights, or maybe go back into boxing ring?
So right now I'm focusing on this one. I don't know what will be next after this fight, but I get this one solved first, and then I see what's possible, what's the possibility, then I'll make a decision.
And do you feel like Francis might be distracted at all by how many different options he has? And like you just mentioned, that Tyson Fury is a maybe to fight, maybe for the heavyweights. Do you think that his focus is not lasered in on you?
são muitas adversidades, né, muitas coisas que acontecem, mas sei que o Francis é um grande campeão aí e com certeza ele sabe o compromisso e a seriedade que é essa próxima luta. Então eu acho que se ele não tiver com a cabeça nessa luta, ele está com um grande problema.
No, I think Francis is a committed guy. I think he understands that he has a tall task in front of him and that he's fully focused on this. At least I hope so.
Hi, this is Alan Dawson of the Combat X TV show at Swerve Combat. This is a question for Francis Ngannou. We saw you train with Mike Tyson ahead of your 2-fight stint in boxing. Will you take any of those striking tips you learned from Mike Tyson into mixed martial arts and the PFL?
I do train with Mike Tyson, and that was for one fight, for my first fight against Tyson Fury. But what I'm gonna say is that boxing is a complete different sport, man. Like it might still be a combat sport, but it's very different from MMA. Whether it's the style, the approach, and everything. So it's quite different, and it's very hard to take something. Yes, maybe you can, if you get some speed, if you get some speed, have some clarity on your target, you know, that will help you in MMA, but those are completely two different sports.
And we heard UFC boss Dana White say earlier this summer that Francis didn't want to fight John Jones. Can you provide clarity that you didn't want to fight John back then, and regardless of how that fight could happen, is it a fight you would still take in the future?
Repeat your question, please.
Dana White said earlier this summer that Francis didn't want to fight John Jones. Can you clarify back then that you would have fought John Jones, and if that fight could happen, is it one you would still welcome?
Well, I think that's the new narrative. Since he needs to say something either way, you know. But as far as I'm concerned, John didn't want to fight for me, according to them. And so many times that we sit down on the meeting, they're like, oh, it can't happen. John doesn't want to fight anymore. You know, like he lives in Albuquerque. He doesn't. He lives his small life. He has a lot of money in his bank account. You know, so I think the guy who controls the narrative can say whatever he wants. But that's just the narrative. I was the one requesting the John fight, but I didn't want that like a, I don't know how to say it, like a trap to get into some deal and get to something that I didn't want. You know, I want things to be straight and square. You know, so yes, I wanted to fight John Jones, but in the good condition, not just to fight, to be paid out.
Thanks, Francis.
Thank you.
Hey, Francis. The night that you fight Renen Ferreira, it'll end a 1,001-day layoff from mixed martial arts. With the boxing training camps in mind, was there a challenge in rewiring yourself to get back into mixed martial arts?
I think the challenge is not into rewiring myself into mixed martial art. You know, the challenge is about like going out there, you know, and deliver and be me again, you know, and have that aggressivity, have that determination, you know. So that's where my challenge is located right now. You know, I don't have any challenge going back into mixed martial art. As I said before, I just felt like I was riding the bike and I used to do it. So that's my challenge.
I love it. And for Renan, what was your assessment of Francis's boxing bouts with Fury and AJ?
Can you scoot over a little bit?
Eu acho que na primeira luta surpreendeu a todos ali, né? Mostrou que como um peso pesado que tem mãos duras, mãos fortes. Já na segunda luta eu achei que ele não foi tão bem, né? Teve algumas coisas ali que ele errou bastante e se aventurou. Mas é isso, tá acostumado com o MMA e é totalmente diferente, é outra arte. Mas fiquei satisfeito também pela abertura aí que ele tem feito, né? Mostrar que a gente no MMA também pode ir para outros eventos, para outras modalidades e sair bem.
I think, needless to say, he did well in the first fight. Had great moments. Second fight, I think he got a little too relaxed, complacent, and got into too much of a little adventure for that one. But I mean, props to him. I'm happy for him, and I'm happy for MMA. It shows that we can go out there and we can hang out with the boxers as well, and we can make our sport proud.
Question for Renan. You dedicated your life to this sport, blood, sweat, and tears, the ups and downs throughout your career. You now find yourself sitting on stage before the Predator, Francis Ngannou, as you guys get set to compete in the biggest PFL fight of all time. What can you tell me about your journey to get here and how it feels to be in this position right now?
Eu que venho do interior do Brasil, né? Muitas lutas, muitas batalhas para chegar até aqui e estar vivendo esse momento, para mim é uma satisfação muito grande poder mudar a minha realidade, a realidade da minha família. Isso é uma coisa que não tem preço. Então, espero que vocês tenham a oportunidade de viver essa felicidade, de viver essa realização na vida, porque eu estou muito feliz com o momento que eu estou vivendo.
I come from a very small town in rural Brazil, and to be able to live this moment and have this happen to me, it's a dream come true. I look forward to making my people proud and putting on a performance of a lifetime. I truly hope that everyone out here gets to chase their dreams and feel something this special at some point in their lives.
Thank you, Renan. Francis Ngannou, how you doing, man? Looking good. You've accomplished a lot in the last few years since your UFC departure, from monumental boxing matches to the recent launch of PFL Africa, but you've been through a lot outside of your career as well. How has your relationship with fighting changed and evolved since we last saw you compete within the realm of mixed martial arts?
How is my relationship with fighting changed since what?
Since we last saw you compete within the realm of mixed martial arts, in the last 2 years, how has your relationship with your career and with fighting changed?
I think my relationship with fighting hasn't really changed yet. As I always say, fighting for me is not a job. It's a part of me. It's who I am. I don't fight as I'm working. I fight just as I'm living, and obviously, time to time you have some ups and downs in life. Sometimes you have some doubts, some questions about stuff, about life in general. But I would not say my relationship with fighting have changed, I have the same relationship, and I did prove it on October 19th.
Thank you. Good luck, guys.
You're welcome.
Question for Renen Ferreira. Renan, you're up against one of the most intimidating fighters in mixed martial arts. How does one get prepared to take on the challenge of Francis Ngannou?
Toda luta é difícil nesse nível, né? Lutar com um cara como o Francis não vai ser diferente, só aumenta a minha dedicação, né? Vamos estar ali trabalhando muito duro, né? Buscando aí a cada momento evoluir mais, estar mais bem preparado aí para essa luta. Então é isso, esse próximo evento com certeza vai ser uma nova versão de mim. Estou o tempo todo buscando mudar, buscando aumentar as minhas ferramentas aí para esse combate.
I mean, it's a game of inches when you come to this level of the sport. This is going to be the best version of me. I've taken the time to improve, to sharpen the tools in my toolbox, and to be the best possible in order to face the pressure.
Question for Francis Ngannou. Francis, can you hear me? Francis, at the beginning of the press conference, you mentioned your son. You've made a lot of money in boxing. You've won one of the biggest titles in mixed martial arts. Why come back to the public to continue fighting? What keeps you going? What is the motivation after everything you've been through?
You know, as I said earlier, fighting for me is a lifestyle. You know, again, I get to the point that I question myself if I should continue or if I should just retire. But I didn't want my son to be the reason for me to do that. So I decided that I would keep doing it, fighting for him. You know, so it just become a new purpose for me. My son was he was 15 months old, but he was very active, and I have a lot of plans in the future for him, and life decide otherwise. So I decide not to make a positive out of his 15 months of living, you know, to find his strength out of him, to find him as a motivation to keep going instead of like to quit, you know. So I think it's the best way of honoring him.
Thank you. Final question for you, Francis. Gareth Davis from the Telegraph and Talk Sport in the UK. It's great to see both of you great heavyweights here today. My final question for you, Francis, is if you have a message for everyone, your life is extraordinary, and you have a message for Renen Ferreira, one for life and one for the fight for October the 19th.
Do I have a message for everyone who what?
Just for everyone in terms of the inspiration that you've delivered in your life, what people can achieve.
Do I have a message? You know, it's a tough question. But I would say my message is that I'll keep, you know, life is tough, take you down a couple times, but you have to, multiple times, but you have to stand back up regardless. And then, even though sometimes they get to the point that they think you're tough, which is something that I really don't like, because being tough means you've been dealing with a lot of shit. Yeah, that's what people say, like, oh, you're tough. I'm like, yeah, it hurts to be tough. You know, it's not easy, and I'd rather not be tough. But whatever happened, life goes on. You know, things happen to everyone, and I think in an event like this, you realize that some people have been going through challenges that you didn't know, and then you give more respect and admiration to those people for what they've been going through. Because it's not because somebody don't enter in the cage and fight another person, that means the person is not a warrior or is not tough. You know, the battles are different. There are different battles out there, and someone are way above the one in the cage, and there are a lot of people out there going through it. So I encourage them to keep going, to not give up.
What's your final message for
All right, thank you to everyone in the press. Jim. Jim, go ahead and call out here.
Okay, first to the stage, the Problema, Renan Ferreira.
And making his mixed martial arts return, the Predator, Francis Ngannou. Mayadeen in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Francis. Great to have you guys here. That's all done. Woo.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and make sure to subscribe for more videos of your favorite fighters over here on Fight Up TV, and give us a follow online as well at Fight Up TV on Twitter and on Instagram. We appreciate it, guys.